gambling especially. So that comes into play as well, because essentially you're buying things to get something more, are you not?
Again, what the hell? Numerous retailers sell lottery tickets. You know, products that might, quote, get you something more, end quote. This is nonsensical. And then Christina offered this. Oh joy, recently our fearless leaders deemed that it would not be immoral for the commoners residing in our great dominion to place bets on single-game sports matches. So it is that sports betting Canadians are now being treated like, oh, you know, adults. Now we can finally make wagers on one game as opposed to amassing a parlay of multiple games. You know, I have never understood why we had such an idiotic law preventing single-game betting in the first place, a useless law that was easily circumvented by those Canadians who were dispatching hundreds of millions of dollars annually to offshore betting websites. In any event, the various provincially run government gambling monopolies are pouncing on this new stream of lotto loot. Indeed, check out this new whiz-bang TV ad from the Ontario Lottery and Corruption Corporation, Gaming Corporation.
Fourth quarter. 20-30, match point.
Plus side of sports betting is here. Need ProLine Plus online betting with single event betting, dynamic competitive odds, and more. Register today at proline.ca.
Gee, I kind of feel bad for those female tennis players who probably wish they were wearing slacks as opposed to skirts as they were levitated away into that vortex. Anyway, I decided to give ProLine Plus a test drive recently, putting a few quid on a Ticats Argonauts game. I bet that the total score would go over the over-under line. Alas, the Argos being the Argos, I lost my wager by some 2 points. But that's not the story here. I'm not crying over spilt field goals. No, the story is this. When my TD Visa statement arrived, I noticed two little charges that were downright inexplicable. First, I was dinged for a cash advance fee of $3.50. That was odd. I have never, ever used my credit card for a cash advance, simply because I don't want to incur fees for cash advances. Then there was another baffling line item, namely $1.14 in interest. Well, that made no sense to me either. I pay off my entire credit card balance every month precisely to avoid interest charges. What was going on here? Well, I called my credit card provider, and here's what I was told. The OLG considers a bet made using a credit card to be a cash transaction, even though the wager is facilitated via a plastic credit card and accommodated online. No cash ever changes hands. So what the hell? Oh, and the $1.14 interest? That was interest charged on the non-existent cash advance. Holy scam. So I reached out to the OLG to get its side of the story, and here's what OLG spokesman Tony Batanti stated in an email. Quote, OLG.ca does not charge fees for deposits made into a customer's account. All financial institutions have a transaction fee structure, and customers are asked to check with their institution to see how to best avoid transactions that would result in a service charge. If a customer uses a credit card to make deposits on OLG.ca, including ProLine Plus, or on any other internet gaming site, those transactions may be treated as a cash advance by the customer's financial institution and are subject to their applicable fees. OLG clearly notifies customers in advance of possible banking fees before a deposit is made. Using a debit card to make deposits on OLG.ca may avoid such fees, but again, customers should check with their financial institutions. We also encourage customers to review OLG's frequently asked questions section, in which detailed information about potential bank fees are also outlined. Please see the link for how to make a deposit and screenshot below from our FAQs. Both advise customers of the possible banking fees. End quote. As Uncle Jed Clampett used to say,
Well, doggy.
yeah, well, doggy indeed, because clearly somebody is being less than truthful here. So I reached out several times to the Media Relations Department of Visa Canada. Nobody ever got back to me. I then repeatedly reached out to the Media Relations Department of TD Canada Trust. Again, radio silence. I guess these skilled communicators feel that if they don't say anything, the story dies on the vine. Well, newsflash, it doesn't. The story goes ahead nevertheless, and the spokes thingies just end up looking like a bunch of cowardly jabronis by their own inaction. In any event, I called the TD Visa customer service line again, but this time I recorded the call. Yet again, the answer on their end was the same. The extra charges are the OLG's doing, not the financial institution or the credit card company. Check out what Christina had to say when I asked about that $3.50 cash advance fee plus the $1.14 in interest.
They are definitely from the OLG. So it's actually the way that the OLG processes it into our system as a cash-like transaction. Because you have the ability to earn money off of it, they consider it as a cash-like purchase and not like your typical purchase. So that's why it's coming up and you're getting those fees. Unfortunately, if you do purchase through them directly, you will get those fees on the credit card. So I'd highly recommend don't do it in the future. It's not something that we can change. But the thing about the interest is, as you're aware, how cash interest works is the amount doesn't stop until the balance is fully paid down to zero. So for you, you would have seen a small cash interest charge on your first statement. The second statement, you wouldn't have seen any because you pay your balance off in full each month. So it would have eventually cleared off the balance by the second statement. But you do see those two charges.
Interesting. There's a different rule at play because I can potentially earn money via my wager. But if the OLG is being allowed to zap its customers with those charges for that reason, then why can't a little mom-pa convenience store do the same thing? Those retailers would be in big trouble if they pulled a stunt like that. It's simply not allowed. Over to Christina.
A credit card is not meant to be used in the form of gambling especially, so that comes into play as well, because essentially you're buying things to get something more, are you not?
Again, what the hell? Numerous retailers sell lottery tickets. You know, products that might, quote, get you something more, end quote. This is nonsensical. And then Christina offered this.
That's why I'm trying to give you your answer, that exactly you're not getting cash advance for those things. It's the company that is charging you. It's OLG that's putting the transaction through as a cash-like purchase. They're the ones that's creating us to charge the fee. If you do it through a gas station or something like that, you're right, you're not getting those fees. It's only specifically when you're purchasing gambling or lottery through their websites. Because the company is how OLG is processing their transaction, they're putting it through as a cash-like transaction. So in our system, it's reacting, charging those specific fees because it's a cash-like transaction. So unfortunately, like, we can go back and forth. They can say it's on us, we can say it's on them. It's a cash-like transaction. You're getting the ability to earn money off of it, and it's directly through their site. They're the ones that's entering it like that.
You know, I think my brain is melting. In any event, I asked Christina if the OLG is lying to me by saying the fees and interest charges are the financial institutions doing. Apparently not.
No, I'm saying that it's the way that they're entering it into the system as a cash-like purchase. That's why it's creating a cash advance fee on our account, because it'd be the same thing as if you were to take money off of your account.
That's not what he's saying.
Transaction, you have the ability to earn money off of it. To be honest, I don't in my opinion, I don't think credit cards should even accept these types of transactions because we don't accept lottery or gambling through gambling websites, that type of thing.
You know, folks, talking to Christina made me feel like I was John Cleese dealing with that pet shop owner in the classic Monty Python sketch about a dead parrot. And nice maternalism there, eh? Christina doesn't think credit cards should be allowed for gambling transactions. Wow, I wonder what her policy is when it comes to using credit cards to purchase, liquor, tobacco, and the latest edition of Score magazine. So my final question, why is the OLG even allowed to facilitate credit card transactions?
I don't know, sir. Honestly, I don't make the rules. I work for the bank. We've kind of gone back and forth on the answer, and you're just kind of nitpicking at little things.
No, Chrissy, I'm not nitpicking. I'm just trying to find out who's responsible for what I believe to be illicit nickel and diming. Now, I can hear some apologists out there saying, oh, come on, Menzoid, it's only $4.64. Move on, will you? But that's not the point. Now that domestic single-game wagering is here to stay, do the math. Somehow, some entity is getting greased with an additional payout for nothing. Over the months and years ahead, all those cash advance fees plus the interest will add up to big money indeed, which is why I will make my future sports bets at the UK-operated Bet365.com, a portal where I've never been dinged for additional fees. And by the way, I'm not going to let this issue rest. I plan to reach out to the OLG's ministerial masters and see what they have to say, because currently, as they say in Vegas, the fix is in, and that should not be the case when the OLG has a state-sanctioned gambling monopoly based on the proviso of social responsibility. For Rebel News, I'm David the Menzoid Menzies. Folks, can you imagine what's happened to our once great Dominion? Mandatory vaccine passports, get the jabs or lose your jobs, and not even get employment insurance. We think that's wrong. We're fighting back in the court and amassing signatures on a petition. Please go to fightvaccinepassports.com. That's fightvaccinepassports.com. Sign the petition, and if you're in a position where you can give a contribution, please do so.